Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson MED.3.5 on Isorhythm. So, in this last section on form, we're going to be looking at a common characteristic of sacred music from the 1300s that is known as isorhythm. This is not a term from the period. No one at the time was calling it isorhythm. It's a 20th century term that applies to music of the period and also to some music of the 20th century. So, what isorhythm is that one of the lines of the piece, often the tenor, is going to have a recurring pitch pattern and a recurring rhythmic pattern that pervade for most, if not the entire duration of the piece. So as an example, we're going to be looking at a motet by Machaut, and the tenor contains part of the chant Feta Pessima, and the section of the chant that Machaut has selected is 12 notes long. Feta Pessima. So this is the pitch pattern, the pitch cycle that he has selected to use for the tenor. And this is known as the color. Looks like color, it is pronounced color. And then he came up with a repeating rhythmic pattern. That's 8 notes long, and the recurring rhythmic pattern is known as the talia. So in this case, ta 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 is your rhythmic pattern. So with an 8-note rhythm and a 12-note pitch cycle, they don't quite line up. Because of math, they'll line up every 3 cycles, but as they go along, you have different pitches going with different parts of the rhythmic pattern, which creates an interesting overlap of features. Even though you're using the same pitch pattern, the same rhythmic pattern, they go together in different configurations. So it'll sound like this. Da 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 da. So the pitches are repeating da, but at a different point in the rhythm. Da 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 da. And now we've gone through the 12-note pitch cycle twice. We've gone through the 8-note rhythm 3 times. And when you continue, it lines up again. So with 8 and 12, it lines up pretty quickly. You could choose numbers that are relatively prime, like 7 and 17, and it would take a while for them to line up. But this technique of isorhythm is fairly common in sacred works of this period, so it's worth taking a look at. We will see you next time when we will start talking about medieval rhythm.